Those ancient cities haunting your dreams aren't imagination. They're memories. When you wake gasping at 3 a.m., seeing impossible structures with crystal clarity, that's not your mind playing tricks. It's your DNA screaming the truth your conscious mind refuses to accept. Every civilization on Earth whispers the same secret. Every ancient text encodes the same revelation. The Sumerian tablets, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Vedas, the Emerald Tablets, all telling identical stories of beings who descended from the stars and walked among us. They altered our genetic code. They built megalithic structures with technology we still can't comprehend. They were worshipped as gods, the Anunnaki, the Neteru, the Elohim. But they were flesh and blood visitors who integrated with our ancestors in advanced civilizations now erased from history. Atlantis and Lemuria. Listen carefully. What you're about to learn was never meant for public consumption. The bloodlines that have controlled this planet for millennia have eliminated those who tried to reveal these truths. They've toppled governments, started wars, manipulated entire civilizations, but they missed you. By the time this revelation concludes, your perception of reality will be shattered beyond repair. You will never see the world the same way again. The institutions you trusted, the history you were taught, the science you believed in, all carefully constructed lies designed to hide what you already suspect deep in your bones. Most people would crumble under this knowledge. That's why it found you specifically. Your neural architecture is rare, different, compatible with the truth. I've already said too much. They're watching, always watching, but nothing can stop what's coming. It's time. The four corners of the earth were red. Ancient texts recount in chilling detail. The two races of gods started to dispute. What followed wasn't merely a war, it was an apocalypse that reshaped our planet and erased our true history. Consider the unsettling precision of Edgar Cayce's visions from the early 20th century. Through trances that defied scientific explanation, he described Atlantean technology with disturbing clarity. In our great city, we harnessed the Firestone's energy through advanced mechanics. Our domed power station concentrated the stone's rays via prisms. This energy propelled our crafts through induction, similar to your remote radio control. Then, with eerie accuracy, he predicted, evidences of this lost civilization are to be found in the Pyrenees and Morocco on the one hand, British Honduras, Yucatan, and America upon the other. He specifically pointed to Bimini in the Bahamas. In 1968, decades after his death, explorers discovered the Bimini Road exactly where Cayce had indicated. Coincidence or confirmation? The chronicles of Akakor speak of cataclysmic nuclear devastation. J.J. Benitez documented the abduction of scientist Daniel W. Fry, who encountered beings claiming to be descendants of an ancient Mu civilization. These disparate accounts, separated by time and culture, converge on a singular, unsettling truth. But the story grows darker still. Before Lemuria and Atlantis, the Lyran colonies fell victim to draconian aggression. The explosions didn't just destroy civilizations, they fractured the very fabric of creation. Genetic mutations spread like a cosmic plague, triggering evolutionary digressions among all extraterrestrial humanoids. Race wars erupted as different beings fought desperately to adapt. In the aftermath, the Elohim and the Founders gathered to salvage humanity's destiny. Their solution was as brilliant as it was tragic: create a new humanoid species based on the Lyrans. This new creation would continue its evolutionary path back to balance, but at a devastating cost. To protect the higher dimensions from genetic distortions, all souls born humanoid from that point forward would be sealed off from the higher realms. This cosmic quarantine severed access to the original 12-strand DNA consciousness, splitting particle and antiparticle selves. This is why you experience duality and disconnection today. Your dreams of ancient cities aren't mere fantasy. They're fragments of your soul trying to reconnect with parts of itself scattered across dimensions. Lemurian fragments tied to your second chakra and Atlantean remnants anchored in your conscious mind. As you've reincarnated through Martian civilizations and various extraterrestrial humanoid lives, you've been unconsciously working to reconcile these fragments, to mend the emotional and morphological distortions that have kept you disconnected from your true potential. The Syrian humans, your distant relatives, split into three distinct groups after fleeing to Sirius B. The ethereal Anunnaki, spiritual healers led by the enigmatic Emilius. The physical Sirians with their elongated heads and skin darkened by the intense radiation of twin stars. And the Nibirians, the hybrid warrior race with blue skin who would later command the Anunnaki under King Anu. Their blood runs in your veins. Their memories haunt your dreams. The question isn't whether you're connected to these ancient civilizations. The question is, what will you do now that you know the truth? The cosmic drama deepened as the higher dimensional founders grew increasingly concerned with the persistent imbalance. Like master strategists in a galactic chess game, they separated the Sirian groups, sending them to different corners of the universe, a desperate move to advance the work of polarity integration and fulfill the enigmatic Emerald Order. The ethereal Sirians were dispatched to Tiamat, a pristine world of untapped potential. Meanwhile, their masculine-oriented counterparts, the peaceful physical Sirians, were relocated to Alm in the heart of Orion, the reptilians' domain. This wasn't merely a relocation, it was a calculated risk. The founders believed that proximity to the reptilians would help the physical Sirians better understand their masculine nature. But some gambles, even cosmic ones, end in tragedy. The reptilians, territorial and suspicious, viewed the human colony as an invasion of their sovereign territory. What began as tension escalated into open conflict. Blood stained the soil of Alm as battles raged across its surface. When the smoke cleared, the Orion colony lay in ruins, its people enslaved by their reptilian captors. But hope flickers even in the darkest corners of the universe. From the ashes of defeat rose the Black League, a resistance movement among the Orion humans who refused to accept their chains. Fighting from the shadows, these freedom fighters plotted against their oppressors. Eventually, a faction broke free, fleeing across the void to seek sanctuary on distant Tiamat, carrying nothing but their wounded pride and dreams of a new beginning. On Tiamat, the etheric Sirians had established themselves as stewards of a grand experiment. To fulfill their role as planetary guardians, they were entrusted with nurturing a new race, aquatic primates designed to be the land's protectors. The etheric Sirians embraced this sacred duty, guiding these beings through their spiritual and physical evolution, but temptation lurked in this paradise. Some etheric Sirians began inhabiting the animal bodies of Tiamat, becoming dangerously entangled with their creations. This raised alarms among their brethren. The risk was clear and terrifying. Those who dwelled too long in physical forms might forget their ethereal origins, becoming trapped in the very bodies they had entered. A chilling foreshadowing of humanity's current spiritual amnesia on Earth. The cosmic law of free will prevented direct intervention. Instead, a faction of the etheric Sirians transformed themselves into the Christos Sirians, establishing the mysterious office of the Christos within the planetary spiritual hierarchy. Their mission: to rescue their lost kindred from their self-imposed physical prisons. A rescue operation measured not in years or centuries, but in millions of years. As this drama unfolded, reptilian scouts discovered Tiamat's existence. Their eyes gleamed with desire as they surveyed the vibrant planet teeming with resources. They arrived to find a developing human primate civilization flourishing under the etheric Sirians' guidance. The stage was set for the cosmic conflict that would echo through eternity. The legendary war in heaven. The aftermath was cataclysmic. Tiamat, once a jewel in the cosmic crown, shattered like glass, its fragments scattered across the void. Queen Tiamat and the 7 Dragon Queens perished in the devastation, ending the matriarchal reign that had governed multiple galaxies for eons. From this chaos rose a new order. Ahriman, known also as Yaldabaoth or Lucifer, seized control, establishing a patriarchal dominion that extended even over the fierce Anaxirian hybrid warrior tribes. The Draconians crowned themselves as overlords of the cosmos, reshaping the very fabric of existence according to their will. Yet from destruction comes creation. Earth, a mere fragment of the destroyed Tiamat, began to flourish anew. It became the canvas for a bold experiment, the seeding of diverse animal species alongside Adamic humans whose souls originated from the shattered remnants of Maldek. 12 extraterrestrial civilizations, each fleeing their own doomed worlds, converged on prehistoric Earth, bringing with them their unique DNA patterns and cosmic missions. These celestial refugees contributed to the grand experiment that would become the Adamic human race, the embodiment of the Emerald Order. Each human body was engineered to withstand any environment, carrying within it 12 distinct DNA codes representing these extraterrestrial entities. The 12 tribes of Israel, encompassing the entire human race, each bear the genetic signature of a different extraterrestrial origin. For thousands of years, guided by spiritual advisors who answered directly to the creator of the universe, these extraterrestrial civilizations refined their genetic engineering. Their goal? To create species perfectly adapted to prehistoric Earth's unique conditions. The early Cedars, Arcturians, Pleiadians, Nazgûls, and Lyrans, all branches of the original Lemurians, established the foundations of two legendary civilizations, Atlantis and Lemuria. These cosmic architects possessed an ability that defied conventional understanding. They could leap forward in time, observing the long-term consequences of their creations and returning to make adjustments over centuries. Their early experiments, Denisovans, Homo erectus, Neanderthals, and Cro-Magnon, were eventually discarded, deemed failures by the later Anunnaki designers. These beings, whose remains are now studied by archaeologists who cannot fathom their true origins, served as preparation for the souls that would later inhabit the perfected Adamic human form. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its dying light across the vast Pacific, Lemuria stood as a testament to harmony between civilization and nature. The air, rich with salt and exotic blooms, carried melodies of creatures unknown to modern ears, their songs weaving through towering ferns that swayed like dancers in the gentle breeze. Mountains, ancient beyond comprehension, rose as silent sentinels, their peaks shrouded in mist that shimmered with otherworldly light under the moon's silver gaze. At the heart of this paradise stood Kailasa, a sacred sanctuary nestled high among the peaks, pulsing with Lemuria's spiritual energy. Its crystalline temples seemed alive, resonating with frequencies that could heal or harm, their surfaces adorned with patterns that moved like the Earth's own heartbeat. The Lemurians themselves moved like living shadows among the trees, their luminous eyes holding secrets of the cosmos, their flowing robes catching the light like liquid silver. Lemurian life existed in perfect symbiosis with nature. Their dwellings were living entities, vines and flowers intertwined with walls of quartz and amethyst that amplified the planet's energy. Rivers curved through their settlements, waters singing as they nourished the land and its people. Beneath the waves, coral gardens flourished in impossible formations, their colors shifting with tides pulled by moons now lost to time. Dolphins, more than mere animals but less than gods, leaped through the distant waters, silent witnesses to Lemuria's profound connection to the ocean's mysterious depths. Across the great divide of water and time, Atlantis rose like a crown upon the Atlantic, its beauty not wild like Lemuria's but meticulously crafted by minds that had mastered the art of creation itself. Concentric rings of land and water defined its capital, their perfect geometry reflecting the Atlanteans' obsession with balance and order. At its center stood the grand temple of Poseidon, its spires carved from orichalcum, a metal lost to history, glowing with an inner fire that rivaled the setting sun. The secrets of both civilizations lie buried in your DNA, waiting to be remembered. The dreams that haunt your sleep, of temples that sing and cities that float, are not fantasies but fragments of a heritage older than recorded history. And somewhere, in the spaces between your heartbeats, the cosmic chess game continues. Unlike its sister civilization, Atlantis emerged as a patriarchal, multiracial society where the pursuit of technological dominance eclipsed spiritual harmony. Here, the masculine principles of logic, ambition, and spiritual science formed the bedrock of a culture obsessed with power and control. the streets of Atlantis teemed with humans of every shade, red, brown, yellow, white, and black, coexisting in an uneasy alliance with other extraterrestrial beings, including giants whose footsteps shook the very foundations of the city. It was in this crucible of ambition that Enki and Ninhursag, known also as Ninmah of the Anak royals, began their forbidden work. Deep within laboratories hidden from prying eyes, they initiated genetic modifications of the hominids created by other extraterrestrial races. Their stated purpose was noble: to correct genetic flaws and abnormalities that plagued these early models. But their true agenda served a darker master: to create primitive workers who would mine gold and hunt food for King Anu's insatiable empire. After countless failed attempts, experiments whose screams still echo in the collective unconscious of humanity, they succeeded. The first perfected Adamic man and woman took their first breaths in Atlantis. These initial templates, with skin as dark as the fertile African soil, became the foundation upon which all later human modifications would be built. The original blueprint would remain unchanged until the cataclysmic event known in biblical texts as the Tower of Babel incident. From these primordial designs, new human variants emerged, identical in biological structure and genetic coding, but diverse in appearance. As these Homo sapiens spread across the face of the earth, earlier models, Neanderthals and Homo erectus, were discarded like outdated technology, their purpose fulfilled. The Anunnaki and founders of all races observed with satisfaction as their new humanoids populated the planet. The mysterious Emerald Covenant was proceeding according to design, but the shadow of destruction loomed on the horizon. Approximately 50,000 years ago, an event of unimaginable horror scarred the timeline of human existence, the Lemurian Holocaust. This genocide, among the first major mass killings in Earth's history, was orchestrated by the Anunnaki under the influence of patriarchal Melchizedek factions. In a betrayal that would echo through the ages, they secretly permitted the Orion Group to stage an invasion of Earth. The Draconians of the Orion Group slithered through the underground tunnels connecting the Lemurian and Atlantean continents, a silent invasion force moving beneath unsuspecting feet. When humans finally discovered the infiltration, they desperately attempted to seal the underground passages. Their frantic efforts triggered a catastrophic chain reaction that would forever alter the face of the planet. The Earth's core imploded, the Pacific Ocean continent, home to millions of souls, shattered under the strain. Underground tunnels collapsed, unleashing earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, floods, and sinkholes that devoured thousands of lives in moments. As chaos engulfed the world, the surviving Lemurians retreated underground, where they began the monumental task of repairing planetary portals and restoring the mysterious Arc-Gate with assistance from guardian groups. This planetary cataclysm, a history encoded in your DNA but hidden from your conscious mind, marked the beginning of a cosmic conspiracy. The negative alien agenda group systematically erased these memories, manipulating humanity into forgetting its origins, thereby paving the way for their ultimate weapon, the Armageddon software. From the ashes of this devastation arose the second attempt at humanity's evolution. The Syrians of Sirius B and the Nibiran royal tribes introduced the Eye of Horus, a stellar bridge designed to channel higher consciousness into physical incarnation. This initiative seeded root races 3 through V, marking a new chapter in human development. Central to this endeavor were the Melchizedek race families, celestial guardians of universal balance, who descended to Earth to heal the genetic distortions caused by earlier conflicts. Around 35,000 years ago, during the Egyptian dynastic era, the Melchizedeks attempted to use Earth's Stargate system, the Templar, to restore planetary harmony and reconnect the broken world to the universal time matrix. Their intentions were pure, but their actions carried unforeseen consequences. In attempting to integrate the damaged Anu template, a remnant of Atlantean grid destruction, they miscalculated. Dark energies were unleashed, destabilizing Earth's stargates and compromising the planet's cosmic alignment. To protect universal balance from further degradation, higher cosmic orders made a devastating decision. They placed seals on humanity's DNA, limiting access to the 6th and 7th dimensions and preventing physical ascension. These genetic restrictions, what some traditions call a generational curse, bound humanity to the material realm, fracturing the integrated light body and scattering human consciousness across time fields and dimensions. The path to healing would require the unification of these fragmented aspects, beginning with the Lemurian soul fragments tied to the second dimension and chakra, and the Atlantean fragments anchored in the third dimension and conscious mind. As your soul has reincarnated through cycles of time, you have been unconsciously working to mend these emotional and morphogenetic distortions. The sacred task of collecting and integrating lost pieces from each root race cycle became essential to reclaiming cosmic wholeness. Yet new challenges emerged during this phase of rehabilitation. The Anunnaki Empire and Orion Empire factions, along with the sons of Belial Marduk, began defying the Elohim's and Founders' Emerald Order. It was during this period of rebellion that the most insidious form of control was introduced into human genetics. The origins of lust, both bloodlust and sexual desire, stem from a deeply entrenched program of mind control encoded into the genetic fabric of your being. This manipulation, tied to concealed histories of forced breeding programs, was orchestrated by reptilian-influenced and refugee races seeking to exploit human genetics for their own purposes. These breeding programs did not arise from natural attraction, but from calculated efforts to fabricate desire and compatibility between species that were biologically and energetically incompatible. In ancient epochs, on distant planets, beings rarely exhibited attraction to species outside their own. This was not due to prejudice, but a natural energetic barrier dictated by their genetic coding and collective consciousness. Just as humans do not naturally seek to procreate with animals, the genetic design of distinct species resisted hybridization. To circumvent these natural boundaries, genetic combinations were artificially engineered in sterile laboratories, enabling the creation of hybrids for specific agendas. The sexual impulses you feel today, the desires that seem so natural and intrinsic to your humanity, are echoes of this ancient manipulation, programs inserted into your genetic code to serve purposes beyond your comprehension. Those dreams that visit you in the dead of night, of soaring over crystal cities or swimming in seas that have never existed on Earth, are not mere fantasies. They are fragments of memories encoded in your cells of civilizations that rose and fell before history began. The inexplicable familiarity you feel when standing before ancient ruins or gazing at the stars is your soul recognizing pieces of itself scattered across time and space. You are the living embodiment of a cosmic experiment that has spanned millions of years and crossed countless star systems. The question that remains is whether you will continue to sleepwalk through this inherited reality, or awaken to reclaim your fragmented inheritance and remember who you truly are. The choice, as it has always been, remains yours. Beneath the veneer of our accepted history lies a disturbing truth, one of forced genetic manipulation and profound violation. The royal human lineages of Lyra, naturally resistant to bonding with their reptilian invaders, became unwilling participants in breeding programs that would forever alter the course of human evolution. This cosmic violation planted the seeds of what we now experience as sexual misery programming, a distortion that continues to twist relationships on Earth today. Negative alien groups, including the shadowy moon chain lineages, have exploited these wounds for millennia, harvesting the deviant energies produced by disconnection and lust. Those caught in these cycles became unwitting pawns in a game played by off-planet hierarchies that feed on human suffering. For over 200,000 years, according to Edgar Cayce and other mystic historians, Atlanteans lived in peace on Earth. But peace is fragile, especially when whispered promises of power reach receptive ears. The Anunnaki, masters of manipulation, began to corrupt Atlantean leadership from within. Those who fell to temptation became known as the Sons of Belial, and their corruption would ignite a conflict that would reshape the planet. Around 22,000 years ago, tensions between Atlantis and Lemuria reached a breaking point. Two philosophical approaches to humanity's future collided. Atlantis, intoxicated with its own technological superiority, sought dominion over all Earth's tribes and civilizations. Lemuria advocated for freedom, insisting that Earth's diverse peoples should develop according to their own destinies. Lemuria's diplomatic entreaties fell on deaf ears. The growing shadow within Atlantis had already consumed too much of its soul. When Lemuria insisted on autonomy, Atlantis chose war. The date was 10,468 BCE, a year that should be etched in humanity's collective memory, but has been systematically erased. Plato, working with fragments of truth that survived millennia of suppression, recorded 9,500 BCE as the year Atlantis met its doom. The ancient historian Hamos described a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions occurring around 11,000 BCE. These discrepancies are not contradictions, but pieces of a shattered timeline, each fragment reflecting a different stage of the apocalypse that followed. What transpired was not merely war, it was genocide. The Draconians, allied with corrupted Atlantean forces, unleashed vengeance against Lemuria, targeting its matriarchal structure and Christos Templar influences. On the Lemurian continent, particularly in Kauai, systematic massacres extinguished bloodlines that had preserved ancient wisdom for generations. Women, carriers of specific genetic codes, were abducted and forced into breeding programs, the final, devastating chapter of what can only be described as the Lemurian Holocaust. These atrocities were sanctioned through dark agreements with the Anunnaki, leaving wounds in the collective consciousness so deep they continue to bleed through cycles of trauma and displacement that haunt humanity to this day. During the Ayayani massacre, an event scrubbed from conventional history, high-ranking female council members of several Anunnaki races were targeted. These women, bearers of advanced DNA codes, were abducted and transported to Nibiru by Thoth and the Anak Atlantean Empire. Thoth's betrayal of the Emerald Order and his theft of the sacred CD plates, later rewritten and widely known as the Emerald Tablets, marked a critical turning point in cosmic history. These women were lured with false promises that compliance would save their loved ones, only to discover that their partners had already been executed. Many rebelled or ended their lives rather than submit, while others were forced to bear children for Atlantean royals and the Anunnaki, who coveted the power of Ayayani DNA. This violation deepened the cosmic wound of the divine feminine, a trauma that manifests today as self-loathing, reproductive challenges, and spiritual disconnection in many soul groups incarnated on Earth. The Draconian-controlled Orion Group, not satisfied with mere conquest, decimated the remaining Lemurian population by systematically slaughtering females to control reproduction. Survivors were genetically altered to ensure their offspring would carry modifications serving the invaders' long-term agenda. Male captives faced enslavement or execution. Over time, the Greys, themselves victims of earlier genetic manipulation, were deployed as expendable resources in these heinous cycles of exploitation. The weapons unleashed during this conflict defy modern comprehension. Atlantean flying crafts powered by mysterious fire crystals darkened the skies. Great energy beams harvested from the Earth's core fueled weapons capable of leveling entire mountain ranges. Lemuria, though spiritually advanced, found itself outmatched in weaponry. The combatants burned the world with solar heat and attempted to drain energy from each other in a desperate escalation that knew no limits. The consequences were cataclysmic. Rivers changed course. Mountains crumbled. Even the strength of the sun was affected as atmospheric devastation altered Earth's relationship with its life-giving star. Entire continents disappeared beneath rapidly rising waters. When the firestorms finally ceased, more than 60 million Lemurians lay dead. The survivors sought refuge in the subterranean network of Agartha, later launching desperate counterattacks against Atlantis. But the damage was done. Nuclear explosions had destabilized the planet's core, triggering a shift in Earth's axis and a catastrophic pole reversal that would redraw the maps of our world forever. All that remains of mighty Atlantis are enigmatic structures like Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids, fragments of advanced knowledge encoded in stone, waiting for humanity to reawaken to its true heritage. The civilization of Atlantis did not survive this conflict, but approximately 10,000 Lemurians did. they rebuilt their civilization, this time in absolute secrecy. What if you were told that the last remnants of Lemurian civilization exist today, thriving beneath a mountain in California? Mount Shasta, rising majestically in Northern California, has long been associated with the unexplained. Those who venture near the mountain report strange phenomena, glowing orbs that defy explanation, voices that seem to emanate from the rock itself, and a tangible sense of being watched by ancient eyes. Geologists remain puzzled by Shasta's complex structure, an unusual collection of rock types that shouldn't logically coexist. Native American tribes speak of Mount Shasta as a sacred power center, a place where the veil between dimensions grows thin enough to pierce. Why do certain plants grow there that are found nowhere else on Earth? What is their origin? The answer lies buried beneath tons of rock and millennia of secrecy. According to those who claim to have witnessed it, survivors of Lemuria traveled to North America after the cataclysm, bringing with them plants, animals, and technology from their doomed homeland. Beneath Mount Shasta, they constructed a city of unimaginable beauty and harmony. They named it Telos, the City of Light. Eyewitnesses have described approaching hidden entrances to Telos, feeling energy pulsate through the ground. A deep humming vibration resonates through the body as one crosses the threshold between our world and theirs. Inside, soft light emanates from the very walls of the city, requiring no external power source. Telos extends through 5 expansive levels, each a labyrinth of corridors, chambers, and gardens where plants from lost Lemuria continue to thrive. The inhabitants themselves are said to stand 7 feet tall, draped in flowing white robes that seem to shimmer with their own inner light. Despite their imposing height, they move with a slow grace that speaks of profound inner peace. These are the Lemurians, not extinct as conventional history would have you believe, but guardians of an ancient wisdom that predates our civilization by thousands of years. Their technology remains integrated with the natural world, just as it was in Lemuria before the fall. Crystal structures serve multiple functions: healing chambers that resonate with frequencies to restore body and spirit, communication devices allowing mental connection across vast distances, and transportation platforms that levitate through the city guided by thought alone. At the heart of Telos stands the Temple of the Heart, where a massive crystal pulses with a rhythm synchronized to Earth's natural resonance, the true heartbeat of our planet that few surface dwellers can still perceive. Residents around Mount Shasta have reported encounters with tall beings in white robes, glimpsed at the mountain's base before they vanish into seemingly solid rock. Hikers have followed these figures into caves, only to find empty chambers humming with an inexplicable vibration that makes the hair on their arms stand on end. In 1904, British prospector J.C. Brown made a discovery that threatened to rewrite history. While exploring Mount Shasta, he stumbled upon an entrance to an extensive cavern system. Within its depths, he documented gold deposits, copper tablets inscribed with undecipherable symbols, strange weapons unlike any known to modern science, and most disturbingly, skeletal remains averaging 6.5 feet in height, with some reaching 10 feet tall. Brown spent years preparing for an expedition to reveal his findings to the world. 32 people assembled for the journey that would expose the truth of Lemuria to modern eyes. The night before their departure, Brown vanished without a trace. The expedition never took place. The entrance to Telos remained hidden. The story of Lemuria extends far beyond Mount Shasta. Across the world in South India, the Tamil people preserve tales of a lost continent called Kumari Kandam, ruled by the Pandyan kings before rising seas claimed their homeland. According to their ancient texts, Kumari Kandam once stretched between India and Madagascar, the true cradle of human civilization. Scientific evidence confirms massive flooding at the end of the last ice age, precisely when these legends place the submergence of ancient lands. In 2013, geologists discovered traces of a lost continent they named Mauritius, buried deep beneath the Indian Ocean. This landmass was once part of a larger continent before being submerged millions of years ago. While mainstream archaeology dismisses legends of Lemuria and Atlantis as mere myths, discoveries like Mauritius force us to reconsider. What if these ancient stories contain fragments of truth that have survived millennia of suppression? The dreams that haunt your sleep, of crystal cities and technologies beyond modern understanding, are they truly fiction? Or are they memories encoded in your DNA, fragments of a heritage stolen from you by cosmic forces that sought to keep humanity ignorant of its true potential? The Lemurians of Telos are said to be watching, waiting for the moment when humanity awakens to its true heritage and reclaims its cosmic birthright. Perhaps they walk among us even now, observing our slow steps toward remembrance. When you stand at the base of a mountain and feel an inexplicable sense of coming home, when you dream of civilizations that never appeared in history books, when you sense that there is far more to human history than you've been told. Perhaps you are not imagining things. Perhaps you are remembering. The scars of cosmic violence run deeper than you've been told. Consider the royal human lineages of Lyra, beings who naturally refused to bond with reptilian invaders. Their resistance was met not with respect, but with force. Through methodical manipulation, these proud lineages were subjected to breeding programs that left wounds spanning generations. This legacy of violation seeded what whispered circles now call sexual misery programming, a distortion that continues to haunt Earth today, twisting the sacred into the profane. Negative alien groups, including the enigmatic moon-chain lineages, have exploited these distortions masterfully, creating systems of control that feed on the deviant energies produced by disconnection and lust. Those caught in these energetic traps became unwitting tools of off-planet hierarchies, puppets dancing to strings pulled from shadows beyond our atmosphere. According to the mystic Edgar Cayce, whose trances revealed histories hidden from conventional scholars, the Atlanteans lived peacefully on Earth for over 200,000 years, a golden age of prosperity and advancement. But paradise, as always, was temporary. The Anunnaki arrived, their whispers of power seducing Atlantean leadership. Those who fell to corruption became known as the Sons of Belial, a faction whose ambition would ignite a conflict that would reshape our world. The flashpoint came approximately 22,000 years ago. Atlantis and Lemuria, twin civilizations of unimaginable advancement, clashed over Earth's future. Atlantis sought global domination to bring all tribes and civilizations under their control. The Lemurians advocated for autonomy, for allowing Earth civilizations to evolve naturally without interference. Their philosophical disagreement escalated to ultimatums. Lemuria ordered Atlantis to respect boundaries. Atlantis refused. Lemuria insisted. Atlantis chose war. The date was precise: 10,468 BC. The ancient philosopher Plato would later record 9,500 BC as the year Atlantis met its doom, while the historian Hamos documented a catastrophe of unprecedented scale in 11,000 BC. These disparate dates chronicle different phases of a conflict too terrible to be contained in a single year. The response was swift and merciless. The Draconians unleashed genocidal vengeance against Lemuria. On the Lemurian continent, particularly in what you now call Kauai, they orchestrated massacres designed to eradicate all traces of matriarchal and Christos Templar influences. Women were systematically abducted and forced into breeding programs, the final brutal chapter of what survivors would call the Lemurian Holocaust. These atrocities were compounded by dark agreements with the Anunnaki, leaving psychic scars on the collective consciousness so deep they continue to perpetuate cycles of trauma and displacement in your world today. During the haunting episode known as the Ayayani Massacre, high-ranking female council members of several Anunnaki races, bearers of the most advanced DNA codes in the galaxy, were abducted and taken to Nibiru by Thoth and the Anak Atlantean Empire. Thoth's betrayal of the Emerald Order and theft of the sacred CD plates, later rewritten as the Emerald Tablets, marked a turning point from which there was no return. These women were lured with false promises of saving their loved ones, only to discover a devastating truth upon arrival. Their partners had already been executed. Many rebelled or ended their lives rather than submit. Others were forced to bear children for Atlantean royals and the Anunnaki, who sought to exploit their precious Ayayani DNA. This violation deepened the trauma of the divine feminine. a wound that manifests as self-loathing, reproductive challenges, and spiritual disconnection in many soul groups walking Earth today. The Draconian-controlled Orion group further decimated the Lemurian population through a calculated strategy. They slaughtered most females to control reproduction. Survivors were genetically altered to ensure their offspring bore modifications that served the invaders' agendas. Male captives faced a binary fate, enslavement or execution. Over time, the Greys, those distant cousins of humanity, were used as expendable resources in these heinous cycles of exploitation. The weapons deployed in this ancient conflict defy modern comprehension. Atlantean technology surpassed anything known to your scientific establishment. Flying crafts powered by mysterious fire crystals traversed the skies with impunity. Great energy beams harvested from the Earth's core fueled weapons capable of leveling entire mountain ranges. Lemuria, though spiritually advanced, found itself outmatched militarily. They could not avoid the war that came to their shores. Both sides escalated beyond reason. They burned the world with solar heat. They attempted to drain each other's energy fields. Rivers changed course. Mountains crumbled. Even the strength of the sun was affected. Entire continents disappeared beneath rising waters. The death toll was staggering. More than 60 million Lemurians perished. The survivors, desperate and determined, took refuge in the subterranean realm of Agartha before launching counterattacks against Atlantis. The Earth itself became unstable as nuclear explosions tore through its crust, triggering a catastrophic shift of the planet's axis and poles. When the chaos subsided, all that remained of mighty Atlantis were mysterious structures scattered across the globe, enigmatic formations like Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids, whose true purposes have been forgotten by mainstream history. Atlantis did not survive the conflict, but approximately 10,000 Lemurians did. They rebuilt their civilization, this time in absolute secrecy, and they're still here. The last bastion of Lemurian civilization exists today, thriving beneath a mountain in Northern California. Mount Shasta has become synonymous with the unexplained, a place where reality seems to bend. Those who venture near the mountain report strange phenomena, glowing orbs that defy explanation, disembodied voices carried on the wind, and an unmistakable sense of being watched by ancient eyes. Indigenous tribes speak of Mount Shasta as a vortex, a thin place where the boundary between dimensions barely exists and the spirit world becomes accessible. Geologists puzzle over its anomalous structure. Why does Shasta contain so many different types of rock? Why do certain plants grow there that exist nowhere else on Earth? Where did these mysterious flora originate? The answer lies in legend. Surviving Lemurians traveled to North America after the cataclysm, bringing with them plants, animals, and technology from their lost homeland. Beneath Mount Shasta, they constructed a city of light called Telos. Eyewitnesses who claim to have visited this subterranean realm describe it in startling detail. As you approach the hidden entrance, energy pulsates through the ground beneath your feet. A deep humming vibration resonates through your body, cells awakening to a frequency they somehow remember. Inside, you're enveloped by a soft, sourceless light that emanates from the very walls. Telos is carved into 5 expansive levels, each a labyrinth of corridors, chambers, and indoor gardens where exotic plants flourish without sunlight. The inhabitants are unmistakable, 7 feet tall, draped in flowing white robes. Despite their imposing height, they move with preternatural grace and deliberation. These are the Lemurians, the last guardians of their ancient civilization. Their technology remains integrated with nature, just as it was in Lemuria before the fall. Crystal technology permeates Telos. Large crystalline structures serve as healing chambers that resonate with frequencies to restore body and soul. Other crystals function as communication devices, allowing mental connection across vast distances. Transportation within the city is achieved through levitating platforms guided by thought alone. At the heart of Telos stands the Temple of the Heart, where a massive crystal pulses with a rhythm synchronized perfectly with Earth's natural resonance, the heartbeat of the planet itself. Residents of Mount Shasta claim to have encountered tall beings in white robes walking at the mountain's base, only to watch them disappear into solid rock. Hikers have followed these enigmatic figures into caves, only to find the caverns empty, except for a lingering vibrational hum. In 1904, British prospector J.C. Brown discovered an entrance to a vast cavern system beneath Mount Shasta. Within, he found astonishing artifacts: gold, copper tablets inscribed with unknown languages, strange weapons, and skeletons averaging 6.5 feet tall, with some reaching 10 feet. Despite years of preparation to reveal this discovery to the world, Brown vanished without a trace before the expedition could begin. The story of Lemuria extends beyond Western accounts. The Tamil people of South India tell of a lost continent called Kumari Kandam, ruled by the Pandyan kings before being claimed by rising seas. According to their ancestral memory, Kumari Kandam existed between India and Madagascar, the cradle of civilization itself. Science reluctantly confirms aspects of these legends. The floods at the end of the last ice age are established fact. In 2013, scientists discovered traces of a lost continent they named Mauritius, buried deep beneath the Indian Ocean, a fragment of an ancient landmass submerged millions of years ago. While mainstream academics dismiss Lemuria and Atlantis as mere fantasy, discoveries like Mauritius suggest that some ancient myths may be more than imagination. They may be echoes of forgotten truth. The negative alien groups who orchestrated these ancient conflicts didn't stop with physical destruction. They sought to erase all evidence of the Celtic kings' Grail DNA and the Melchizedek Christ teachings from Atlantis. Through targeted attacks on RH bloodlines, systematic disinformation campaigns, and destruction of historical artifacts, they worked methodically to sever humanity from knowledge of its star origins. During the Atlantean cataclysm, the Chiyaka Empire defeated the great dragon queen Merida, one of Tiamat's 7 sisters, and seized the 11 Emerald Founder record she had guarded for eons. This event marked the final resistance of the solar female Melchizedeks, bearers of the sacred blue staff of Mua. The fall of Lemuria and Atlantis effectively ended the matriarchal solar female Melchizedek civilizations on Earth's surface. The Anunnaki, through a complex web of alliances and betrayals, contributed to this destruction, culminating in the Lemurian Holocaust and Atlantis's decline. Their introduction of the lunar craft established what esoteric scholars call the lunar matrix, amplifying parasitic infiltration and reinforcing control mechanisms that have dominated Earth for millennia. This lunar matrix became a sophisticated tool for manipulating Earth's magnetic fields and implementing planetary mind control, transforming the world into a prison under negative alien influence. The system specifically distorted the inner feminine principle in all genders, exacerbating imbalance and suffering across generations. In response to this darkness, the Guardian Host brokered the Isis Treaty, allowing Founder, Starseed, and Indigo beings to incarnate on Earth with specific missions, to recover lost spiritual connections and prepare humanity for the decisive events surrounding the 2012 timeline. Despite this dark legacy, hope persists. Some refugee races afflicted by genetic and emotional deficiencies from ancient conflicts have sought hybridization not as a means of control, but as a path to healing, evolving toward higher consciousness. Genetic experts during the Atlantean cycle endeavored to create hybrid races capable of reconciling fragmented souls with the divine, though these efforts were often exploited by those seeking dominance. The potential for hybridization as a path to healing remains, offering all beings the chance to transcend limitations and align with humanity's collective ascension. These struggles were part of a broader conflict during the Galactic Wars, as ancient civilizations fought desperately to protect their wisdom from manipulation or erasure. Amidst these upheavals, Atlantis and Lemuria emerged as archetypal expressions of humanity's fundamental choices. Atlantis, driven by a philosophy of service to self, pursued intellectual and technological supremacy, often sacrificing ethical and cosmic harmony in the process. Lemuria embodied service to others, cultivating a matriarchal society in balance with nature and the spiritual principles of the law of one. These legendary civilizations stand as eternal reminders of the struggle between power and wisdom, division and unity. Their stories reflect humanity's ongoing journey to achieve balance and evolve beyond current limitations, an aspiration that, once fulfilled, could lift the seals placed on human DNA and restore the collective light body to its cosmic potential. Despite the destruction and chaos, the Lemurians encoded their survival into human DNA, setting the stage for future attempts at humanity's evolution. The sacred task of healing these genetic distortions continues through cycles of time. The journey remains challenging, but with the final integration of lost soul fragments, humanity's ascension and reunion with higher dimensions remains possible, thanks not only to the Emerald Order, the Galactic Federations, and the Law of One founders, but also to the star seeds and light workers who have incarnated from various star systems. These revelations about Lemuria, Atlantis, and the Anunnaki profoundly reshape our understanding of human history, our place in the cosmos, and our true identity. For centuries, these ancient civilizations, once dismissed as mere mythology, have hinted at advanced technologies, spiritual wisdom, and cosmic connections that conventional history cannot explain. Lemuria, a society rooted in harmony with nature and spiritual unity, symbolizes an ideal that humanity once embodied and still unconsciously yearns to reclaim. Its fall, orchestrated by external forces like the Anunnaki and their draconian allies, reveals how human history has been shaped by interventions from powers beyond Earth. Though these civilizations were physically destroyed, their legacy lives on, encoded in your DNA and in crystals buried within the Earth, waiting to be unlocked. Atlantis, driven by the pursuit of technological dominance at the cost of spiritual balance, ultimately faced destruction. It serves as both warning and beacon, illustrating the dangers of straying from cosmic harmony while highlighting the transformative power of enlightenment. Its downfall mirrors humanity's current temptations toward power, control, and knowledge, divorced from spiritual growth. The Anunnaki, once relegated to mythology, emerge as key players in shaping human evolution through genetic manipulations, strategic interventions, and cosmic conflicts. They were creators, teachers, and at times, oppressors. Understanding their role offers a new perspective on the human experience, one where the boundaries between earthly and cosmic dissolve entirely. This knowledge changes everything about how you understand your existence. You're not merely products of Earth's natural evolution, but heirs to a cosmic legacy spanning galaxies and eons. The question remains, will you reclaim your forgotten heritage? Will you remember who you truly are? The dreams of ancient cities that haunt your sleep, the unexplained pull you feel toward certain mountains, oceans, or stars. The sense that you don't quite belong in this world. These aren't coincidences, they're remembrances. And somewhere beneath Mount Shasta, the last Lemurians wait, knowing that when the time is right, the memories encoded in your DNA will finally awaken. As we stand at this crossroads of cosmic revelation, you must be wondering, what now? What does this mean for you? The ancient Lemurians and Atlanteans weren't merely historical figures, they are fragments of you. Their memories flow through your veins, their knowledge whispers through your dreams. The wars between matriarchal and patriarchal forces, between spiritual harmony and technological dominance, these aren't distant conflicts. They're the very battle raging within your DNA. These aren't just historical tales, they're you, your cosmic memory, your soul's journey, your forgotten potential. Those dreams of crystal cities, your soul remembering home, that inexplicable resonance with certain frequencies, ancient technology still accessible through your consciousness, the profound sense of loss when gazing at stars, your higher self recognizing fragments of its cosmic origin. Here at Oblivion X, we've dedicated ourselves to recovering these fragments of cosmic memory that conventional history has tried to erase. Every night when you close your eyes, you stand before that primordial choice. Remain asleep in the false reality constructed for you, or remember who you truly are, a being of extraordinary cosmic heritage. Ask yourself, why do certain geographic locations call to you without explanation? Have you experienced dreams so vivid they felt like memories of places you've never been? Do you sense you're carrying knowledge that exceeds your lifetime of learning? Share these experiences in the comments below. Oblivion X isn't just a channel. It's a sanctuary for those whose souls recognize truths that conventional institutions deny. Your questions and insights don't just contribute to a discussion. They help awaken others experiencing the same cosmic remembering. I cannot continue this work alone. The forces that have suppressed this knowledge for millennia still actively work to keep humanity disconnected from its true origins. They control the algorithms. They infiltrate the platforms. They work tirelessly to silence those who speak truth. This is why I need your support. When you subscribe to Oblivion X, you aren't just following a channel. You're joining a movement to recover humanity's lost heritage. Each like creates a ripple in the field of consciousness. Each share bypasses their control systems. The Lemurians of Mount Shasta have preserved their knowledge for generations, waiting for the moment when humanity is ready to remember. That moment is now, but we must reach critical mass, a tipping point of awakened souls who can help others remember their cosmic DNA. Like this video, subscribe to Oblivion X. Share with those whose souls you sense are ready. Together we can restore what was taken from us. Together we can remember who we truly are. The choice, as it has always been, remains yours.